record it.
Okay.
So I will start sharing my screen. It's already 11:03. So hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um, Hi all, very good morning. Actually, this is a session about locators, good quality locators. Um, uh, this is a beginner-friendly session. Actually, if you don't have much knowledge on UI automation or front-end automation, you will get some idea about what is locators, where it need to be used, how we can use it, and these all things I will share here. So if you have experience in UI automation, you have encountered the difficulties in finding good quality locators. Uh, Actually, finding good quality locators is really a time consuming task, and but if we could find the right locators, these locators are resilient to the changes, and we can use it without much changes in our test script. So, what I will start from what's a locator. Actually, these locators help us to identify HTML components in a web page. In simple words, these locators help us to locate a particular web element in a web page. If I need to do a particular action on on a web element in a web page, I need to locate it first. Then only I can do a particular action on that web element. If I need to enter a username, first I need to locate the username field. Then only I can enter the username in a username there. So this locator, this locators,
Team,
sorry,
please be on mute.
yeah, thank you. So these locators help us to identify or locate a web element in a web page. Then what is good quality locators? Good quality locators makes our test more maintainable and reliable. Actually, if consider a situation where we are working for a test for an application which is under development. So if it is under development, the developers will do frequent changes in that applications, and this makes some changes in the locators we have fetched. But if we are finding right locators or the good quality locators, these are resilient to these changes in the UI, and it will save us from the frequent changes or frequent updates to the test script. So good quality locators in UI test automation are essential for maintaining stable and reliable test, and the right locators help ensure that tests are resilient to the changes in the UI and reducing the need for frequent update to the test script. So this is about right locators or good quality locators. Before going into tips for creating locators, I have created a sample project and I can show you uh, how and where and what all are the locators we have in Selenium. So, okay, I just created one Maven based project. I'm not deep diving into Maven and what is Maven and Maven based project, as it is only about locators, also we have only 30 minutes time. So in Maven based project, we can see one file named pom.xml file. There we can give the dependency is for the libraries we use. So in this pom.xml, I have added the dependency for Selenium and also for the WebDriver manager. And also I have created one test.java class in our source test Java. Okay, so this is our test class, and within this main method, I just give the code to launch browser and maximize the window and just to enter the URL. and get into the web page. So these two lines, the webdriver.chrome driver and the WebDriver manager, will help us to launch the browser and create a driver instance. And this line of code will help us to maximize that window, and this command will help us to enter the URL and get into the web page. I will execute it now. Okay, browser has launched and it has maximized the URL entered. Now it logged into Orange HRM page. So I'm using this page for the demo purpose. So the next thing, the user flow, next I need to do is I need to enter this username in this username field, and next the password in this password field. Uh, I don't know why it's not coming here. It should come the login. I need to click on this login here. This is what I need to do. So I I need to enter the username here. First, I need to locate this web element, right? Use this username field. I need to locate it. I need to locate this form element. So first of all, if I need to locate it, then only I can enter the username here. Then for password as well, I need to locate this element first, and then only I can enter this password here. And also for this login also, I need to locate that login, and I after that only I can do the click action here. Okay. Um, just a minute. I will execute it once again and show. We have some more elements in that page and should come. Mm, maybe some issues with the site. Okay. So uh, what I need
I
to
mean,
do is, yeah. Hmm.
yeah, so I can on the site. So instead of
Yes.
launching this Orange HRM, we can directly
Uh-huh.
launch our Lufthansa site, right?
Yeah, we can launch it.
Yeah.
I
So that
am
would be
not.
better, better to understand everybody who are not
Okay.
into the automation as like
Uh-huh.
me.
No problem. No problem with that. I will do that. Can I log into our application?
Yes.
Actually, the problem is we have the we need to add the Microsoft credentials there. So
Okay. 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 Got it.
that's
Got it.
why I use the
Yeah.
public.
Yeah. Fine. Fine. Then fine.
Yeah.
You can
Mm-hmm.
use.
Mm. There may be some issues with the site. That's the reason.
Actually,
Okay.
Devika, that login
Mm-hmm.
element is visible. If you can click over there, you can see that it's asking for the username and
Ah,
password. Yeah, it is
okay.
actually visible, but not like
But
the color
the thing
grading
is
is
like
different.
I
The
would
color
like
grading is
to
different.
I would like to get that forgot password
Okay.
link
uh,
in order to show the link text. That's why. Oh, no
Okay.
problem. I will continue with this. So I don't want to waste time. So if we want to enter this username, I need to get to line to locate this username first. So for that, what we need to do is first of all, right click on this username field, and we can see this, and here you have one option like inspect, and if I click on the inspect, it will give you the document object model. And here in this within the elements tab, here we can see the HTML components. So from this we can find the locators. So if I need to find the locator of an element, get into the web page and right click on the field where I need to get the locator, right click on that and click on the inspect, and it will open the DOM, and from the elements tab we can get the locator. So again, if I need to get into the password, So the DOM is already open, right? So here you can see one arrow. Select an element in the page to inspect it. Click on that and move to the element where I need to find the locator. Click on that. It will direct to the HTML component for that particular web element. This is what we need to do to locate an element in a web page. So now it give us the HTML component, right? Then how we need to use this in our code? For that, if I need to locate an element and do some action, we can give the command driver dot find element. Okay, if you hover the mouse here, you can see the find elements, as its name suggests, it will find the element, but it for this it will accept the parameter of by type. So if I give by and get into that by, you can see that this by is an abstract class and it has many static methods, and the static methods at the top are the locators of Selenium. So what we can understand is here the ID, link text, partial link text, name, tag name, XPath, class name, CSS selector, all these are the locators available in Selenium, and we can use these locators based on the availability and our requirement. Okay, so first, for this username, I need to get the web element or the locator. I need to locate the web element. That means I need to get the locator for that. For that, I need to give. The first option I have is by dot. If I give by dot, first one is ID. If I need to enter ID here, I need to check here. Do we have any ID attribute here? Okay, when I check on it, I don't have ID attribute here. I cannot use ID here, and I need to go for other locator. That's the that I could see name here. So if I use name here, I need to see that whether we have the name attribute here. If you can see here, we have name here. I can directly use this name, the attribute for name value here. Okay, it will accept only string, and in this way we can find element. So before getting deep into it, I would like to give you some tips for creating locators. The first tip is use unique identifiers. Preferably use IDs or data attributes like data test ID that are less likely to the changes. Actually, if we have ID and if we found that this is the unique identifier there, we can prefer ID as the locator. This we can give find element by dot ID within that ID attribute value. This is the I will show you the examples. And the next one is avoid relying on text. Avoid relying on text means if I don't know whether I could inspect it. Okay. Okay, it's coming. So within that, I am clicking on this. I am inspecting this login button, and if I expand it, you can see the text here. If I'm relying on this text, that's not a good practice because they are likely to change us. It's not good to rely on text. The next one is CSS selectors. The uh, CSS selector is very fast, but the thing is, if we are creating complex CSS selector, it makes some confusion. So if we are using CSS selector, it's the best method for uh, adding locators. And then we can also use XPath and mostly we know that if you could see some automation framework, we are mostly depending on XPath because if we have some hierarchies or parent child relation, parent sibling relations, in all these cases XPath helps us a lot. So that's why we mostly prefer XPath for finding locators. And also we have some accessibility attributes like area labels. We can also rely on these kind of tag names. uh, this is the HTML tag for this particular login. It will every component will start with this tag, and it has so many attributes and its values, and we will come into it. So these are the tips for creating locators. The thing is like the locator which we are identifying for a particular element should be unique, and the IDs and data attributes, all these are mostly unique and don't rely much on this text component. And because if our application is on development and there are many chances to change, chances to get this text element text got changed, and we can rely on CSS selectors, we can rely on XPath, and also we can rely on this area label tags. Then the next thing, use of stable locators. As I already mentioned, the ID attribute is the most stable. If we have ID attribute, we can choose it. But in our case, we don't have any ID attribute. That's why we preferred name there. So what is an idea? If an element has a unique and meaningful ID attribute, it's often the most reliable locator. IDs are actually static, so they tend to remain the same even if other parts of the UI changes. That means in the same way, the driver dot find element by dot ID. This is the ID for that particular element. If our element had ID, we will same as name is equal to username. We could see the ID is equal to a value. ID is equal to username or something like that. Now we couldn't find any ID attribute here. I will expand it. See, here we don't have any ID attribute, so we cannot use this by dot ID here. Okay, I think you got it. And the next one is the name attribute. Similar to ID, the name attribute can be a stable identifier, especially for form elements. Actually, this form elements and these username and password fields are form elements because they are expecting a value from the user. So these are called form elements. And so for these kind of form elements, we usually have this name attribute, and we can rely on this name attribute for finding the locator. So here also driver dot find element by dot name. Here within that we should give the value here. Here the name attribute value is username. Like this we can use it. Okay. Avoid locators based on attributes like class, style, href, which may change frequently. For example, a class may dynamically generated or subject to change based on the JavaScript execution. So we have class here, and we can see the value is not a defined value, and it is a we cannot rely much on this value. And we can even use placeholder also. It's also a good way to use placeholder. uh, and also avoid using style, href, these kind of tags. It's better to use ID or name if it is there. If it's not there, we can prefer CSS selectors, XPath, and all. So before going to the next slide is about CSS selector. I would like to execute this test, and before that, I need to find the username, and then I need to type the username. For typing the username, I am using dot send keys in Selenium, and the username I should write there in the field is admin, right? So I will give the admin here. I'm trying to execute it. Let's see. Okay, but it didn't enter the name. So maybe due to some synchronization issue. I will add a wait here. We can even give thread dot sleep, but that's not a good practice. So I would like to give WebDriver explicit wait here. Okay. Okay. Require duration of seconds. I will give 2 seconds here. And I will give a condition here. Don't worry about this much. It's actually when we have more knowledge on this selenium, we will understand what is explicit wait, implicit wait, and fluent wait, and it's good to use explicit wait here. And it will do the same action if we give thread dot sleep. I would like to give expected conditions. Expected conditions dot. I would like to give visibility of the element. Uh, I'm waiting until I could see the element username. Okay. So I will wait for 2 seconds until I could found the username. That's what I'm doing here with these 2 lines of code. I will execute it once again. Okay, now you can see it got typed admin here. Okay, so okay, okay, it worked. Okay, now you understand, right? We use the name attribute and it entered the username admin. Okay, then next one. Next one is use of CSS selector. Then how can we use CSS selector? As I already told, this is the fast and reliable, especially if you avoid overlay. Uh, the this CSS selector thing comes when I don't have this ID. I couldn't find unique value for this ID and the name here. So I need to go for the other locators, right? Next one I would like to choose is the CSS selector, and these can be the fast and reliable, especially if you avoid overly complex or dynamic CSS classes. Don't use much complex CSS classes. We can create CSS selectors in a simple way, and this is the syntax we need to follow. Tag name, and within tag name, then open a square bracket, then give the attribute and its value here equal to sign. Then within the symbol code we need to give the attribute value. And here for class name and for ID we have an exception. If we have a class name, then we can directly use tag name dot class name here. Okay, and we can even give dot class name driver dot find element by dot css selector within double quotes. If we could see dot element class, we need to understand that this is the class name for that particular element. Okay, and here we are using css selector and dot element class means here we are using class name here. And for id also we can use this syntax tag name hash id. Here also we can, without tag name, we can directly use hash id. When it comes like this, we need to understand that this is the id for that particular web element. And also, if we don't have this class name or id, we need to follow this syntax for creating css selector. Next one is the combination of multiple attributes. So let's see, if we give input name is the attribute name and the username is the attribute value. By this, we couldn't find a unique locator, then we can use the combination of multiple attributes in order to get a valid CSS selector. We can prefer this way also. Okay, so I will show you how to find a CSS selector. For this password, I would like to get the CSS selector. For that, I am right clicking and click on the inspect. Now we get into the DOM, and from that, I will use this arrow and click on this password and give the HTML component here. And for creating CSS selector, I need to click on this one and click on Control plus F. So it will give one search field here. Here we can give the CSS selector or any string value here or XPath here. It will highlight the component related to that. So if I need to create the CSS selector, click inside the DOM and press Control plus F in the keyboard. So then how we need to find the KCSS selector? We know the syntax. If we have ID, we can use this hash ID here. If we have the class name, we can use dot class name here. And if we don't have such kind of attributes, we can use the format tag name, open square bracket, and attribute equal to, within single quotes, we can give the attribute value and we can close the bracket. Then about when how to create it. Here, if you could see this input is the tag name here. Okay, I should give input first. Here within this field, input is the tag name. Then I need to open a square bracket. Then next attribute, which attribute I need to take? Here also, okay, here I would like to take the attribute placeholder. Okay, in within this square bracket, I need to enter the attribute placeholder equals, within single quotes, I will give its value. Its value is password that I have already seen. What's the issue here? Input. Okay, it should be capital. Okay, now you can see here we have only one component, one web element with this particular CSS selector value. We can definitely use it. There is no issue with that. If we are using it, then it will give you the result. Then for that, if I need to use it in the uh, code, for that driver dot find element within the bracket by dot, here we need to select CSS selector because we are finding the web element using CSS selector. Within the double quotes, I need to write the CSS selector which I have created now. In this one also I need to type the password. For typing, I need to give this send keys and I need to enter the value as admin 123. Okay, I will execute it and show you. You can see whether it is working or not. Okay, now it got entered. You can see the password here, right? The next I need to do is I need to click on this login button. Okay, so this is what we learned about CSS selector. We need to use this syntax for using CSS selector, and we can either use the combination. If in this case, if I couldn't find a valid CSS selector or I couldn't show a unique value for that particular element with only with this, I can give one more, like I can give the attribute name equal password. This will also work. Combination of attribute names. This will also work with CSS selector. And next thing is, and also we can use some pseudo classes like end child, first of type, last of type. If this particular CSS selector will give a group of values, if I need to fetch the first value, then we can use this indexes. Indexes means end child, like this. Form input colon end the child of one. The form is the HTML tag and input is the child of this form tag, and in CSS selector we can, with this space, we can give the parent child relationship and then the end the child. If this give a group of elements, if I need to fetch the first element, we can give the end the child. Like this we can use the pseudo classes like end the child, first of type, last child, etc. But it is not a good method to follow. We don't prefer this kind of CSS selectors because there are many chances to change this order of these elements. So we usually don't give such kind of indexes. And if you need to you need to give like if this I need to fetch an element with this user value in the name field, name attribute, like this name attribute value contains user. In that way we can give input name star instead of contains in CSS selector. We need to give name star equal user. Like the actual value of name would be user ID, user name, or something like that. If we are using this star here, we can use this user. Otherwise, if the star is not there, we need to give the full value for this name attribute. And also, if we want to find the elements where the attribute value ends with sub-specific text, we can give the dollar sign after the attribute name. And same for if we need to find elements where attribute value starts with certain text, we can give the up arrow here in this way. Okay. So in this way we can use. Before getting into XPath, I need a confirmation. It's already 11:33. Uh, can we do this session for XPath and the remaining part as another session? It's already 11:33. Can we do it like that?
Yeah, hi Devika,
Yes.
Ridhima this side.
Mhm,
Maybe
mhm.
it will be good if we can continue it tomorrow. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay for me. I can continue tomorrow. If you are also okay, then I will schedule the meeting and share the link.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
everyone should be fine. So you can
Okay.
schedule it for tomorrow, same time. Yeah,
Sure.
that will be
Thank you.
okay.
It's actually this 30 minutes time period is very less for this locators. We have a lot to discuss about locators. That's why. Um, mm, Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Hope you have understood what I have told. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Devika. Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks.
Who has started the recording? Okay.